Hello, welcome to July, can't say that word. July 2023 Founders Log podcast.
Yeah, anyone else would say, oh, you shouldn't have had a drink before you started this. But of course, being teetotal, that wouldn't be the case with you. That was
Only the water.
Don't know. It must be the water. Too much of it.
What I had for lunch, I had a spicy chicken and pasta from Morrison's.
Okay.
And when they say spicy, it is very, very spicy.
Really?
So I've been having a lot of water after that. It was super spicy. Got no milk, but it was super spicy. Too spicy to be enjoyable, actually.
Wow, that's pretty hot then for something from a supermarket.
Yeah, it's in their meal deal section.
Yeah, okay.
It's quite a big pot as well, but it's just it's too spicy to be enjoyable. That's the problem.
Oh well, that'll explain it then.
So talking about last month, Carl, we had some frustration and some euphoria with what happened on. We got quite a good amount of leads come through. A couple of them have converted. One nice one should be converting hopefully this week.
Yes,
we're getting that going. There's a bit of frustration, so we did have one lead that came through that we had an excellent discovery call with. This was a company of only 4 people, though all 4 of them were directors. From the start they said that we don't know anything about IT, so we've got lots of a hodgepodge of systems going across the place, with some people using certain apps, others using others. We want it all integrated into one. So we had a 40-minute video call with one of the guys there, and it seemed to all go well. It was a good video call, and we gave them an option. Google Workspace, of course, would be ideal for them because they want to be on the same platform and be able to collaborate and share documents easily using stuff like Google Drive and Google Meet for video calls.
Yeah.
So that went well. We sent over some details, but it did come to the point where he would then need to speak with the other directors to get them to agree to move across. And that's always a sticky point because you're relying on them to now sell a service that they don't know. They only know the basics about to some other people who don't. None of them have any knowledge about IT, as self-admitted. And then after that, they went quiet. They essentially ghosted us.
Yeah.
So I sent a text and got no response back after they hadn't responded to my emails. Then you did a call from one of our Google Voice numbers, which didn't identify it was coming from us. Pure chance, essentially. And then because you didn't leave a message, they actually called the number back afterwards, and so you got a bit of a discussion off them that way. And they said they were still talking about it. And then we heard nothing from them again because they asked to check up in was 14 days time, 2 weeks time.
Right. Yeah.
Heard nothing back from them, so I then sent an email off to them saying, "Look, come on, guys, we gave you 40 minutes of our time. At least you can tell us if you want to go ahead with it, or if you don't want to go ahead with it, at least say no, and we can move on, and that's it." And then they finally responded saying, "Oh, we do want to go ahead with it because the other 3 directors in the company didn't want to use, didn't think Google Drive was the right solution for them." Which was kind of a crappy excuse because you've admitted you know nothing about IT. Yeah. You clearly don't know anything about Google Drive. So why can't you do that? Because we had offered them a video call for all four of them to be on a video call together so that we could answer any of these concerns and stuff like that. But they never took that option up and just decided Google Drive wasn't the right solution. And I've said that's a bit like having a defense lawyer have a case for you and you go into the defense lawyer and say, actually, I think your case is rubbish and we shouldn't be doing it that way, without having any legal knowledge of your own to be able to put that point across and say that that's fact.
Yeah, it's an undercover excuse for the real reason, which is probably don't want to spend the money or don't know what it is because I'm getting it, as you say, third hand. So I'm a bit nervous about it, so I'm saying no. Yeah, maybe a bit of both with those people, but usually that's the people then who don't want to put the money in the pocket. Well, my email's fine, so.
It's crazy when you think about what's a small amount of money it is compared to what you're going to get in return. It's just big no-brainer not to go ahead with it.
Absolutely, but there you go. That's down to that person to make that decision, so they can carry on with particularly for that person we spoke to on the video call. They had a complete mess of a situation, so they're stuck with that.
Well, they couldn't even receive emails, could they? At that point in time, anyway.
No, that's right.
So the other thing that we did last month was you've been going to it for a while, an IT owners meet up over in Wolverhampton, and you told me I should come along, and I did, not just for the free pizza.
Yeah,
free pizza is good. It's sort of Domino's pizza. But it was all right. It was good chatting with the other business owners there, because I've been to other groups that are part of the same organisation that runs them. I did spot that they were doing something not quite great that we gave feedback on. They're allowing vendors to come to the events, which is fine, but they were also allowing vendors in the Wolverhampton group to pitch as well. And this vendor that was there pitched for 40 minutes on these old passport scanning devices that you just don't need. And I pointed out, why would I want to buy one of those when I could buy an iPad that will scan it? It'll take all the code, all the information off a passport and fill it into a system for me automatically. I don't need just a device that simply does that when I can have an iPad that can do multiple things, and it's cheaper.
I didn't know that they were a vendor. I had no idea until they started going, and I was just like, right, are you a franchisee of this or the actual company? And then you said, oh, this has happened at the other group meetup, and they banned it now. They're allowed to come, you said, but they have to shush.
Yeah, so the other groups, vendors can come along, they can join in with the conversation, but they're not allowed to do what this one did, basically pitch for 40 minutes for business and trying to sell what I quite frankly thought was junk technology.
Yeah. We had it the week meetup before where someone came along who shouldn't have been in the group at all and started talking about their services of being a talent agent, and I had to stop them eventually and just go, look, can we just, no, I didn't come here to listen to this, and I didn't come here to listen to your pitch for a product that would have been very viable in 1998, but not anymore.
Oh yeah, these scanners were just absolutely pointless. But essentially what it was, they had a scanner that you could put a passport on top of it, and it would extract the data from that and put it into a system for you. And I was saying, what's the point in that? I can do that with an iPad, and I can do a lot more with an iPad.
Yeah, they had tons of different. They had, so they had a scanner for photo film.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's pointless. Yeah, that's a company that's never changed its marketplace and then has gone, oh crikey, we don't have an audience to sell to anymore. And
no one had ever heard of this brand anyway.
No, they probably got by for many, many years without needing to anybody know who they were.
Yeah. And now they've realised, what they've got wrong is they think, sales have gone down. We need to get our people out there pushing our product, not realising that actually the sales have gone down because everyone's buying an iPad instead because it does the same thing and more.
Yeah, their sales have gone down because their product isn't required anymore. Yeah,
dated and old. Have you got anything you want to add to what you did last month?
I would say I've been onboarding, with the new clients, just moving them on board. One of them's taken our Google Workspace only support, which is not the workstations or the computers or the network, purely Google Workspace, and I've been migrating them over, and that's gone pretty well. We'll see how that works out with the existing IT guy who looks after their computers and things like that, because sometimes it can be a little tricky to only look after one aspect of a company's IT. We'll see how that works out, but the owner of the business is understanding about it, so if there are any issues, we can talk about it. I like a bit of Google-only workspace support, though.
We've also got another client that's from two brands coming into one, so two separate companies that they're merging into one, which is so also merging them into one Google Workspace, which has been a bit of a challenge, but it's gone through.
Yeah, communication-wise is always a bit tricky when you run a project because not everybody reads everyone's communiques. However, migrating the data from one Google Workspace to another Google Workspace has actually gone pretty well. There's quite a lot of tools built into Google Workspace that enable you to move the drive files, the emails, the calendar very easily from one to another. There's a little bit of admin work for people like us to do, but it's not a big deal to do, and it's been done. And that's gone nicely. So they're kind of settled down now. Just learning a few things like how to send as a different domain name when they're in their Gmail and stuff like that, but nothing you can't help people with.
We also did a learning session for our one of our favourites, the guys over at Zap Shelter. We had a new employee starting, and they'd already used Google Workspace before, but they just wanted to have a bit more of in-depth refresher for this person so that they could get back into using Google Workspace, because in between using Google Workspace and starting at Zap Shelter, they'd had another job where it was Microsoft, so their memory muscle had gone back to Microsoft, so they just needed that reprogramming to Google Workspace, which Lauren did well.
Reprogramming, wouldn't that be great in the future if it's like the Matrix? But give me Google Workspace, will you? Oh, no, I'm good, thank you.
At the moment, we have to manually reprogram muscle memory, but maybe
we'll be out of job because everybody could use everything. God, what a world that would be! What a world that would be if everyone could use a computer. Woohoo!
It'd be nice, especially when you see the stats for later.
Yes.
New videos during July. 2 new videos went live. One was how to install Google Voice on your desktop on your computer, and the other one was how to set up how to set your status in Google Chat, and all the manual statuses you can do as well, which are kind of hidden in the program. Surprisingly, the one how to install Google Voice on your desktop as a desktop app on your computer, it's been a bit of a success. That one is quite popular.
Okay.
Compared to the others, and how quickly it gains traffic. It's gained traffic and views a lot quicker than usual. And I suspect it might be to do with the fact that I'd noticed before I made the video, there weren't any videos out there about how to do this.
Oh, okay.
Installing Google Voice as a desktop app, because essentially it's an app, but it's a PWA, which is actually a website that you install as an app, and it looks and functions like an app on your machine, but it's actually just a website inside a container. So that's why I think there weren't many videos out there, because people were unaware that this version of Google Chat, the PWA, which stands for Progressive Web App, was available. So that video's out there, and it's as I said, been pretty popular.
Yeah, good.
2 new blog posts went live, and they were both basically the text versions of how to install the Google Voice app and how to control your statuses inside Google Chat, which was good. And then we got the support, the assistance and support statistics. So July was a bit frustrating because we got contacted way more than normal. 132 times we were actually contacted last month. And sadly, I think the vast majority of those, from what I've looked through, were just people not being able to use computers properly. Just not getting enough training, and then just not knowing. Some of this stuff wasn't even training. Some of the stuff was proper basics, and just not being able to get the fundamentals of computer, how to use a computer, and just contacting about stuff like that, which was it's always a bit frustrating, because we enjoy support and assistance where it's a bit of a challenge there. It's something unusual. It's something new to do and stuff like that. But when it's a real simple thing, I don't enjoy the real simple stuff. You do, I think. But I don't.
Well, I accept that some people don't really want to learn or can't. It just doesn't click for them. So I don't mind helping them. We did have a good one. We had an interesting one, didn't we? Which was I've got a document, a PDF in German, and I wanted to convert it.
Good one.
You liked that one. I helped the customer with that. We opened it in Google Docs, and then once we were in Google Docs, we were then able to use the translate function, which translated it from German for them, which they were not aware of, and worked really well.
Yeah, because I remember you were going to use Google Bard to do it, but because it was an image-based, it wasn't actually a real PDF, was it? It was an image of a PDF, and Google Bard couldn't read that because it was just an image for Google Bard rather than being an actual PDF file. Yeah,
but luckily Google Docs was able to read it and convert it, so it went well that.
So the 132 times we got contacted, 108 were for those wanting assistance, how to do something better, while 24 were for support where something needs to get fixed. So going a bit more into depth on those support ones, out of the subscribers sending messages for support, 13 received a response and returned to doing their work within 5 minutes. 8 replied. 8 had a reply and returned to their work within 30 minutes. 2 took between 30 minutes and 1 hour, and then 1 took over an hour to resolve. And that was because it was a dead laptop. So someone had tried to turn their computer on anyway in the morning, and it just wouldn't do a thing at all. It had no power, nothing in it at all, and no coming alive. So they had to. There was a spare laptop, but it was in the office, and they were working remotely. So they had to drive over to the office to go and get it. And then once it was set up, I could then connect in and get it all set up for them. The whole process took about an hour to do, just over an hour. And then going into the assistance details, it was 80 people who got in contact received a reply within 5 minutes and were now able to do something better than they could before. 27 received a reply within 30 minutes, and 1 took over an hour. It was a more complex request, and it had many knock-on effects that needed to be understood before that change could be made, because that change would have affected other systems if we had just done the change off the bat. So once that was understood, then stuff could be done.
Yeah.
So 127 of those people got in contact through our unique instant messaging service support, and which is always the quickest way to get in contact, and 5 decided to email. And the stats show that if 15 subscribers would not have gotten in contact if they had been offered regular training with learning sessions by Kimbley IT.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing that, I'm not talking about the real basic stuff. This is
Okay.
the stuff that's a bit more advanced that
Okay. All right.
you
Okay.
would know about. It'll be stuff like labeling emails and creating filters and
Yes.
things like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
which isn't something you're expected to know from the start, but you would get that through a learning session. You'd learn how to do that. It's not the real basic stuff.
No, I know what you mean there, because I see clients sometimes who've not had training, and you connect to their Gmail and it's set up in the original inbox, and there's nothing, no labels, and you're like, you are hardly using this tool. It's got loads of features that can make this loads better, and you don't even utilize any of it because you don't know that you can do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's the roundup for July 2023.
Good stuff.
So we'll speak to you again next month and do for our recap of August.
Yeah, well, I'll be mostly talking about sunshine, hopefully. So
Well, I think August is looking quite good. But if you're away on holiday, then that means I'm going to be busy for 2 weeks at least.
yeah. Okay. Are you listening, simulation programmers?
So that's an inside joke, that is. But anyway, we'll speak to you soon.
Ta-da.
See you. Bye-bye.